Yeah, that's right. Calvin P from the DMV. Mr. Fingers. This week in UGA football. Get ready, baby. Let's go.
Hello, how you doing? How you doing? How are you? You, and you doing all of you. How are you guys doing today? It is football season. It is almost time for college football. It is. Your boys are back. It's been so long, dude. I can't. I'm shaking. Can you say, look? I'm just. Oh man, listen. Let's go ahead and start playing, man. It's your boy, Mr. Fingers, coming to you live from the 405, where the wind comes whipping down the plane. Did you see me? I don't. Did I just low key dab? Like dab went out like 12 years ago or whatever. I just low key did a slow motion dab. I did a slow mo dab. That's got to go down in internet history right there. Man, it's your guy, Mr. Fingers, coming to you live from the 405, and that guy right there, that guy over there, you know who he is. He needs no introduction. He is the sexy mother Hubbard, the brother from another, the ace of base in the place, in your face, my man, Colin P. from the DMV on the INTERNET with me, discussing football in the SEC, specifically taking place in Clark County. You see what I did there? I had to bring that back around. I had to make it all around there. But here we are. Bars. Yo, I had somebody break something down. I saw something today. Speaking of bars, sidebar. Those of you that are just now watching the show for the very first time, this is not new. Do not be alarmed. I will have it and go off on a tangent. I saw a video today, and it talked about how it had a comment where somebody said, Lil Wayne mentioned spiders 8 times in one verse, and y'all think he can rap. And then the dude broke it down, and he broke it down, and he played the verse, and he talked about how Wayne talked about spider this and spider that, and then he said, "Now that's a spider verse." And I was like, "Yo, that So I got to try and keep it so fresh and so clean. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I'm excited to be here, man. I'm very happy to be here. Colin, what's going on with you, man? Take over the mic before I run.
I am as stoked as you are, man. The countdown has been counting down for me since last season, and I'm ready to get this thing started. So happy that the schedules, the conferences, the conferences have been deleted from the SEC, like the East and the West, so we get to play some high caliber teams and some teams we don't normally see. So it's going to be a different season, I do believe.
I'm excited. I tell you what, I could not be more stoked than Flavor Flav. I'm sorry, not Flavor Flav. I could not be more stoked than Flavor Flav was to be watching them water polo swimmers at the Olympics and just putting them girls on. Like,
bro, I thought that was awesome. He put some money into that. That's great. That's awesome.
Then he supposedly paid for the rent for one girl that was on the track and field team doing the shot put or something like that. Because they put a lot of their time and energy into training. So, these folks aren't working regular jobs like everybody else. And so that's, and Flav was like, I got you, baby girl. Plus I put a little something on you. I put a little something extra for you. You feel me? So, man, but that's y'all know what we here for. Y'all know what we've been doing for the last 3 years. This is the premiere of season 4 this week in UGA football. The 2 out of the last 3 seasons champion Georgia Bulldogs. I believe the polls have been out. The polls have been out, but I gotta find why you talk to the folks a little bit. I got something I gotta find. I told you we was gonna talk about it today.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm so stoked. I mean, I went through the I guess there was a reel with that somebody had out there about the top games to see. And I kind of got a little nervous when I saw who we were 4 out of. I think it was like maybe 10 of them. We were like 4 out of the 10, and they're all ranked teams. And it's going to be, man. I've been wanting for a while for us to play. Some high caliber teams. You know me. I want to play Bama every year. I want them on our schedule every year. You know what I mean? And
I would love that.
But
I absolutely, you know what? I absolutely would love that. That is. I mean, that's a surefire way. Oh, remember when I told you it was going to take right when we went on the air, the prompts were going to show up.
Yeah.
So for those of you that we were a few minutes late. So apparently, it's been so long since we've done a live stream that I had to verify all of the accounts that we were going to be streaming to, and I have 2-factor authorization on all the YouTube accounts. So I was like, yeah, send me a code to my phone. And I waited and I waited and waited. And then I finally just went on ahead and accessed it through my Google accounts through my phone. And here we are. But we've been on right now for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. And guess who just got the 3 prompts? Ha. No. Thanks so much for your service, Google. Anyway, what the heck was I talking about?
Said you was looking up something.
Oh, I was I did. I was looking something up. And so I'm sorry, y'all, if we're a little out of sorts. It's because we're very happy to be here. You're going to hear that line on another show on Tuesday nights at some point, but we're just really, really happy to be here because it's been a very long off season, and we'll get into what we've been doing in just a bit. But I was on my way to work this morning, and ESPN apparently put a little something together since we're talking about polls, and basically what it boils down to is 30 teams, and they're 30 teams in the major conferences and their chances of making it to the 12-team tournament. And we're going to get into that in just a bit. But first off, before we keep it moving, man, we've been gone for a minute. Why don't you tell the folks what you've been up to, man?
Oh, me? Nah. You know me. Uneventful was great. Just working, rinse and repeat. Working, come home, rinse and repeat. But I just want to give an update on my baby boy, Mr. B Man. He's been doing good. We're working for school coming. I think school starts this Thursday. But 2 weeks ago, he had his bars and the magic rods in his back too for his scoliosis. He had to have those replaced. And man. I'm continually just amazed and, not really surprised anymore. But, I mean, he's a beast when it comes to it. We were out of there in and out. He was walking about 5 hours after he, got back to, his room. So, he was still walking to, not long distances, but he was up on his feet. But we were out of there less than a week, which is absolutely fantastic. But, this is a second replacement, third surgery. So, thankfully they're continually getting less painful, it seems. I mean, I'm sure it's painful as all get out, but he knows what to do, man. It's impressive. But other than that, I mean, just same old stuff, man. I'm just waiting for football.
You and me both, man. Hey, look, that deserves an air horn. Shouts out to the B man. Big shouts out to the B.
Oh yeah. I'm ready.
Talk about people performing these massive feats, and we applaud people for things that they do. This is a young man that, and we did a show on this. It's congenital diaphragmatic hernia, correct?
Right, congenital diaphragmatic hernia, CDH. Yes,
and it he has not had the opportunity to grow up like a quote unquote normal little boy. He's had surgeries. He's had all these things he's been through. And every time I have seen this kid, he's jumped on the live a few times. And every time I've seen this kid, he's smiling, he's laughing, he's joking. He had his own little. Does he still do his thing? His with his cards or his pogs or whatever it is he was doing?
He wants to, but he's into gaming. He wants to be a gamer, so he's all into. He's got I got him an Xbox. What is it? Xbox X Series here? I guess it's an X Series, but But he's got PS5 at his mom's house, so he's continually on the on the games and everything, but he's steadily watching that YouTube stuff. He wants to do something to that nature. We haven't done any card opening or unboxing or anything like that lately, but we're gonna get into it. I think we're gonna get back into it.
Okay, well that's what's up, man. My man's right here, ladies and gentlemen. Colin P from the DMV.
But you remember when I texted you? You asked me how he was, and before we went back for the surgery and anesthesia, he said, "Daddy, this place is hell."
Yeah, you told me about that, man.
I was like, "That's my boy."
I was like, yep, that is definitely your son right there, man. 100%. 100%. Well,
when everything was done, he said, we were coming home. He said, Daddy, at least I wasn't mean and yell at you and mommy. I was like, boy, I said, if it was me, I would be completely different. But
one thing I love about your son, man, and y'all, if you tuned in for football, we're gonna give you some football. We just kind of catching up here. We're catching y'all up. I'll tell you, one of the most amazing things has been watching Brady grow up. I mean, I remember when he was born, me and you go back a little bit. I remember when he was born, and look, every time life thinks it's gonna knock him down, he pulls the usher. You feel me? Like he's a Superman for real. I'm waiting to see, bruh. I got an idea. You need to get him to do one of them with the S. With the Superman, for real, because that's the real Superman right there. Forget the alien from Krypton. That's the real Superman right there. Shout out to the B man right there.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
And on my end, for those of you that have not seen our smiling faces in a while, on my end, as you all know, if you all are connected to me on social media, I have become a huge fan of the Oklahoma City Lady Force, who we had some of the players on. We had one of the team captains on an interview for the Lady Show. I was at every home game. I got to do PA announcing. I did live streaming. It was an absolutely awesome experience. I've gotten to know a lot of the ladies in there. They're 100% completely awesome. And then in the process, as the season was wrapping up, I got offered a gig as the PA announcer for the high school football team where the Lady Force were playing their games here locally. So in 2 weeks, your boy will be up in the press box on the microphone. So that's what I've been up to. That and hosting karaoke. And then other than that, just working. That's it. That's all.
See how you find the time, man. You got a lot of irons in that fire, bro.
Oh, man. Don't I know it? Don't I know it? Don't I know it? Well, let's get into it, man. We've been at it for about 15 minutes here. So let's get the people what they really want. Let's get the people what they really need. Let's talk some football here. So y'all, those of y'all over here, you know how the 23 season went. Georgia extended their win streak, an insane win streak that started with the national championship in 2021. That started with that regular season. They had not lost a regular season game at all in 3 seasons. And then with the exception of the SEC championship that year, had not lost a game in almost 2 seasons leading up to the SEC championship against Alabama. And that is where we fell short. Of course, we watched Michigan go on to win the national championship. Shout out to the Michigan Wolverines. This isn't an SEC show, but very interested to see. I really want to see how things shake out with Michigan and their new coach this season. Now that Harbaugh has finally gone on to the NFL. I think it's gonna stick this time. So every year he's like, I'm not interested. And then they found out he flew somewhere and interviewed, and then he's like, I don't want that job. So honestly, I think he was to tell you the truth, I think he just wanted to win a national championship, and he got his national championship.
Yeah, finally,
And now he's gone on and he's in the AFC, which means he might go head to head with his brother.
Yep. I mean, I figured he would haul, kind of haul tail after he won it. I mean, I figured he wasn't going to stick around if they won it. And that's exactly what happened. But, bro, 29-1. I mean, 29-1.
Oh, 100%.
correct me, but that's all Stetson, right? I mean, is that all Stetson, or is that a little bit of JT, a little bit of I'm not certain.
There's a half a hair worth of JT in there because remember JT was playing. Didn't JT start that season and get hurt, or was that the season before? I believe that was the season before.
Season before, right?
Yeah, but I mean, JT did get some playing time, but of course he realized he had lost a job and he went on. He did stick around long enough to get a ring, and then he went to West Virginia.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then of course we know that there was another. Just the bone got picked clean again, like the turkey at Big Mama's house at Thanksgiving. I mean, we had Bowers to Las Vegas, Amarius Mims to Cincinnati. That's in the first round. The second round, you had Lad McConkey go to the Chargers, Kamari Lassiter, Javon Bullard. Then in the third round, they had Tyke Smith. In the fifth round, they had Cedric Van Pran Granger to Buffalo, Zion Logue to Atlanta. And then we had some unsigned, undrafted free agents, Dejon Edwards, Kendall Milton, Marcus Roseby Jack Saint, and Trammell Walthour, drafted to the Eagles, Steelers, Commanders, and Ravens, respectively. I don't see how Dejon didn't get picked up. Kendall, I could maybe see Kendall. No offense to Kendall. I could see Kendall because Kendall has an injury history behind him, and maybe people might be a little bit about picking him up. But Dejon was a great asset to the team. Honestly, he was the glue. He was the glue. He was that running back part of the portion of the offense that they reverted to when we're up by 25 with 3 minutes left. Just run it down the field. I mean, Kendall had some great moments too, but I mean, honestly, So here we are at the 2024 season. I guested on a show week before last. I'm sorry. Those of you that are here, I'll get to that in a minute, Mr. Simmons. Don't go anywhere. That's my homeboy, Aaron Simmons, right there. Partner from out from in LC, Virginia. LC, y'all know about the LC. You part of the LC out there, you know.
Yeah.
But I and this is what I said. This is going to be the first season in a very long time where the roster is not all superstars, because all the players that blew up and became superstars during the championship run and those that remained in the 2023 season, those guys are all pretty much gone. There's only a handful of people left on the squad that have some sort of memory of that played in or were on the squad during the championship run. And Aaron raised a very valid point, which we're going to get into right now. Where are we right now? We're live on the internet. That's where we are, Anthony. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
He said Clemson's going to be a good test for us.
He did.
I mean, we've had them. We've had them a couple times at the first game of the season.
Yeah, we had them. We played Clemson in the 2021 season. That was the year that DJ Ukulele, and I keep saying I keep messing that man's name up. That was the year DJ Ukulele was the big talk of the town. He had the Dr. Pepper commercials. He was playing football in Fanville, and making fun of the transfer portal. And he had that $1 million deal, and he just turned out to not be all he was cracked up to be.
Wasn't that one? It was like 7-10 or something like a baseball. I mean, like it was a low score game.
I think it was more like 13-9 or something like that. I mean, that's what it boiled down to. It was a very close game. The defense kept their offense from doing anything, but it took our offense a minute to generate some heat.
Right. So exactly. Yeah. I think it was an interception that actually put us up. I think that's what it was. Maybe it's pick six. I think it was.
Yes, sir. So here we go. Let's get into the 2024 schedule. All right. So as our good friend Mr. Simmons says, and we go back to his comment. Don't worry, I got you, man. If I can get the chat to open up, I want the chat open. There it is. It says, Lord have mercy.
It takes a little bit.
Now it's acting funny. Now it wants to act funny. Hold on. I'm not even playing. Boy, this has been a comedy of errors tonight, y'all. I'm telling you. There we go. Clemson is going to be a good test for y'all on the 31st. And I agree with that in that you have Dabo Swinney, who has had his own period of dominance during the Trevor Lawrence era, kind of sort of taking a little bit of a step back. Not a huge one. Clemson is still a very good squad. And they will be facing a very young Georgia squad. Very, very young. Small handful of seniors left on the team. A couple of juniors, but a lot of these guys on this roster, and I have looked this roster over 8 ways from Sunday, and I'm just going, who are these dudes? Like, who are these dudes? Literally, who are they?
Right.
And I want them to, I still think they will do well. This is gonna be the first season I'm gonna have to wait and see, because we know that success brings people wanting to be a part of what you have going on. So people came in, they stuck around, they played 3 years, they played 4 years, and now the cupboards from that era are just about empty. And now you got all these new guys coming in. Now we're going to start seeing some of these guys that came in on transfer. Some of these guys, and I mean, some of these guys have been on the roster the entire time they've been there, but they don't get a whole lot of playing time. I mean, how are you going to get playing time on defense when you got Nakobe Dean, when you got Malachi Starks, when you got Javon Bullard, when you've got Keely Ringo, when you've got Big Baby, when you got when you've got that defense, and then when you've got when you got your offensive studs, you got Brock, you got McConkey, you had Pickens. It
was an all-star cast, bro. I mean, it was an all-star cast. I mean, we've had them for a couple of years now, but I mean, like, even our center, that's the big one, is our center, starting center is out. So now we've got I can't remember his name to save my life, but I just I saw it the other day. But Kirby was talking about, or somebody was it was actually Bobo. Bobo gave a really good presser the other day. Actually, the best I've seen him do in quite some time. But he was talking about how the center, how much an important part, obviously, the center plays in your offense. I mean, he's had to pick all that up real quick to call the plays and pick up the Mike and that kind of the rushing attack and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like we and plus think about the transfer portal. Think about ETN. Think about and Ra getting let go.
Oh God, yeah! I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see him play. And the other one I want to see play. You know who I want to see. He got hurt, Mr. Robinson.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we did. Look, it hadn't been that long, man. You can't have forgot. The boy came in, built like Mr. T back in 1986, and we was like, that cannot be a high school senior. That's a grown man. Like Cat Williams say, just because you name him Damon does not mean he belonged to Damon. That one might be mine because he kind of looked like me, but that one definitely is not mine.
So you got stung by a bunch of bees. He was bubbled up.
I mean, this guy, Branson Robinson, was built like a grown man as a senior in high school. And he just wound up getting hurt. He separated his patellar tendon and wound up being sidelined for the entire season. There was no chance of him coming back at all. Who else I want to see get out there is Oscar Delp. Delp was also a big part of stepping up when Brock was hurt, when Brock was having his injury issues and Lab McConkey was having his back issues, and keeping the passing attack lethal. Of course, I also want to see, this is going to be the year that we see whether or not, and I'm not saying that Carson Beck did not have a great season. Carson Beck had an incredible season. He's one of the leading candidates to potentially take home the Heisman this year. But I just want to see if he's really going to go all out this year. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations about that. I mean, I love the kid. I mean, I think he's got a great arm, and I've seen some scramble ability from him, but that's going to be the tale, you know. Like, and I was going to ask you about are your concerns, I guess, with our defense. Well, not defense. I guess our offensive line a little bit. I mean, you think he's going to have the protection that he needs? I mean, my concern is him being able to scramble. Like if it does break down, pocket breaks down, you know, his ability to create something out of nothing, basically. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying that's going to happen, you know, very often. But I don't, like you said, I don't know a lot of these guys like I did in the past teams, the past 3 or 4 years, and I guess what that remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean,
well, I think since we've got Truss and Tate Ratledge coming back, and you know those guys are both a couple of absolute offensive lineman studs. But that is something that I did mention when I was when I guested on the show a couple of weeks ago, is that I want to see is that something that he has in him, or is he more of a just a very calm pocket passer? I mean, we've seen him tuck the ball and go.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to compare. I mean, comparing him to Stetson is like apples and oranges. They're two different types of players.
That's why
They play two different types of styles. They play two different types of styles. Stetson kind of reminds me of, up until right after the last national championship, minus the getting into trouble with the law. That Stetson kind of reminded me a lot of Johnny Manziel. A lot of just in terms of his ability to take a play that looked like it was going to be nothing and turn it into something, and turn it into a big something. Mr. Simmons, I'm going to address your comment in a minute. Don't think I didn't see it, because we could see it when it pop up in the feed. It just ain't put it up on the screen yet. So I do think that our offensive line is going to be okay. My concern is our very, very, very young defense, man. I mean, when you look at this, there are 3 juniors, and a small handful of seniors, and none of these names I've heard, except for, and I gotta find his name. Shambliss got a little bit of playing time. Michael Williams did get a little bit of playing time. Of course, our boy Nazir is gonna be back, rumbling, stumbling, bumbling, man. And then that got called back. Because of the penalty. That made me so mad. He was touchdown bound, baby. Touchdown bound.
They say like
there are a lot. Yeah, there are a lot. Oh man, yeah, because Nazir he tips the scales. 6'3", 320. He tips the scales. That's all I can say about that. Just for frame of reference, my second kid.
That might be small, bro.
My second kid was 6'3" and 315 as a freshman.
Man.
Okay. So that's a big old boy. Remember that picture of me and him in the 3-point stance?
Yep. Yeah.
6'3", 315 at his fighting weight. This dude is 320. That's a whole lot of man you want to get out of the way of. And they're looking weight-wise, they're looking really light. They're looking really, really light. Oh, okay. That's because those are all DBs. They're supposed to be light. Anthony.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
DBs is supposed to be light. But the D line is averaging. The D line is averaging about 280, 290, because they're 340 at the heaviest with, oh my God, a freshman. That sounds like Larry Munson. I just channeled him. He's a freshman. This dude is a freshman. Check this out. Is Nnamdi Agboko from Durham, North Carolina. Now, come on now. That don't make no sense. Ain't nobody named Mboko from Durham, North Carolina. That boy from Wakanda. But he's a freshman, and he is 6'4" and 340 pounds. Great God from Zion. That is a monster.
Yes, sir.
His mama still cussing them out.
But look, I was going to not to cut you off, but going back to the quarterbacks, right? So I mean, our quarterback room since Vandegrift is gone, right? So I mean, we got Carson, we got Gunner, and we got Puglisi.
Yeah, and you also got the kid from California that tried to bilk Florida out of $9 million, and now he's got a lawsuit going. Rashada, remember we talked about that last year, before?
Yeah, we still got him. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's probably 1, 2, and 3. Beck, Gunner, and Puglisi. I don't even know if Rashada sees the field or not. He might get some garbage time. Just to see what he's about. But you know how Kirby is. Kirby would take one of them guys. See, this is what Kirby does. Remember when he pulled in Eric Gilbert?
Mm-hmm.
So Eric Gilbert was supposed to be this absolute stud, right? And for those of you that are just watching, he was supposed to be an absolute stud. He was at Miami, and things didn't parse out so well for him, so he transferred to UGA. Kirby is the kind of guy that will bring a guy in and have him on his roster. He learned from watching Nick. He'll have a guy on his roster and have the whole team on the other sideline going, "Oh man, he might come in anytime." Eric Gilbert barely got any playing time. Now there were some issues with him and getting his head together, but that seems to me like one of those things where Kirby's like, if I don't get this kid, somebody else is going to get him, and he's going to burn us somewhere. Yeah. He might sit him on the shelf. I mean, with Gunner as a backup, and then Puglisi, and he's got Colin Drake from Ennis, Texas. Sam Bush, who's a freshman, hometown boy, straight out of Clark County, and then that's it. So anyway, I'm gonna get over into this comment real quick before I forget. So, Mr. Simmons says, "Do you really think that Beck is a Heisman candidate?" Go ahead.
If you let me, I will respond, and then you can go ahead and give your take. So I've actually, Aaron, talked to. It surprised me that he was as touted as high as he is in the Heisman conversation. I was just trying to figure out. He's like I said before. I love his prepare. He prepares great. And he's got an arm, and maybe that's why they. How they love the strong arm and the home run ball and that kind of stuff, which is great. But I was surprised actually. To be honest with you, I was surprised that he was so touted as high as he was, given all the other ones. But it all depends on how a season goes. The quote unquote Sean, the straw that stirs the drink type of situation is kind of what what I would look at. But I'm not dogging him at all. I hope he has a hell of a season. But I was surprised to see him as a top. And I'm not comparing him to Stetson either. Just saying I was surprised to see him as top. As far up at top as he was. What say you?
Well, here's my 2 cents. When you take into account the fact that by this past season, by the 2023 season, they had lost pretty much all of the number one defense, the squad that was the number one defense in the 2021 season. They had lost a number of key offensive players. A number of key offensive players as well. And the fact that Carson Beck was able to still do what he did as a quarterback to the tune of running the table during the regular season and leading them into the SEC championship. And even then, but for the sake of a couple of miscues, it wasn't like a blowout. This wasn't one of those blowouts where Bama came in and ran us off the field. But for the sake of a couple of small miscues, we could be talking a whole different story. Georgia could have played for a third consecutive national championship and possibly won.
No, don't get me started on that. You know how I feel about it. We had a couple of plays. He did a lot of what you're saying without Brock Bowers. You know what I'm saying? Like that,
right?
And that is a good comment there.
You think about the fact that for the previous 2 years, that if everything broke down, if the whole offensive play broke down, Stetson was either going to scramble or he was going to look for Brock or he was going to look for Ladd. Point blank. He had neither one of those. Ladd was hurt.
Oh,
Brock was hurt. Brock was playing hurt. And he still, but for the sake of a couple of, and I'm not saying, as a fan, I would have loved to have seen him go into another championship, shot at a three-peat. But for the sake of a couple of miscues, they were right there. And he was the general behind all of that. And one thing, the big difference for me with Carson versus Stetson is you always see Stetson on the sidelines being really, 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 really fiery with Coach.
Right.
You know, Coach is trying to talk to him. It's like, what the heck were you thinking? He's walking away from Coach's back to Coach, looking over his shoulder, talking back at Coach. Carson's standing there. He's taking it all in. He seems pretty unflappable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe his face is just hard to read. He seems like a kid that's pretty unflappable. Alabama threw everything they could at that kid that game, and he still almost kind of. I mean, another maybe minute and a half or two on the clock, whole different story. And that's just that I think that's where that comes from, because and then you also have to take into account that when you are a star player for a team that has had the run it has had for the last 3 years, as the quarterback, we said this before, as the quarterback, you get all of the glory or get all of the blame. And he's a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. So I think if they have a good showing like they did last year, he will be in the Heisman running. Did I say I thought he was going to win the Heisman? I mean, if I did, I'll have to run the tape back. I don't have the ability to do that like they do on live TV. Like we don't have NFL budget money to be able to do that.
I don't think you said he's going to win.
I think he has. If I did, let me back that up and revise that. I think he has a good shot at being in the Heisman running, being in that Final Four if he has a really good showing this year, especially given everybody's looking for him to come in and do big things this year. And if they live up to that, reputation, he'll be there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then it probably has a lot to do with Georgia being where they are now too, after winning those two, and then coming close last year. Everybody's it's that that's got to be a lot of pressure though. I mean, I think he can handle it. Like you said before, he's just taking it all in and kind of like stone face, and he's preparing like he should. More power to him, man. I mean, that's got to be insane amount of pressure, though.
Dude, there are people right now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. I just choose to feel,
But, with all the major players gone from the last couple of seasons and what Georgia built, there are still some coaches and players on other teams out there just like.
Goodness gracious! Why ain't tell me it was a softball game today?
That ain't the one I thought it was. I thought that was the other one where he said, "Ain't nobody worrying about no Georgia." Nobody worrying about no Georgia. I got the wrong one, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? There's still some teams out there that are like, "Oh, here it is, right?"
Ain't nobody worried about no Georgia.
Yeah, there are still some teams out there with that mentality, even with all these key players gone. You got 2 championships in the last 3 years. You got a silent stud quarterback making a comeback for the starting position. You got the best player probably the best player on the Florida Gator squad out of their backfield coming in the backfield, which just makes that team that much more lethal. And Georgia defense is gonna be Georgia defense is gonna be Georgia defense. So we shall see.
Again, bro. I don't think they're gonna. I mean, like I said, past season, I don't think they're gonna take a step, a bigger step back as I think people think. I mean, even though they're young, I think they're gonna do what we do. We're gonna smash them.
Yeah, and that's the point that I'm making. I cannot say with 100% certainty right now, before the season starts, that he will be a Heisman candidate. But I'm right there with you, sir. I think with the pedigree he's got behind him from the program, by courtesy of the program, if they do big things this season and get a shot to going back to the dance, I think he will be there. No question. Oh,
he'll definitely be there.
Yeah,
for
sure. Real quick, to those of you that just joined us, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. This is This Week in UGA Football, season number 4, episode 1, the season premiere. I am Mr. Fingers, live from the 405, and that guy right there is Colin P. from the DMV. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to take a really, really quick break, and we're going to reset. And we're going to come back and we're going to jump into this ticker that's been sitting over here that talks about the schedule and we gonna get into that, and then, because that thing's been sitting up there forever. So we get to talk about the schedule some. Then to get we don't even play them this year. Did you see that? Tennessee man made an appearance. Tennessee must have made an appearance. But we'll be right back, y'all. So don't go far. And we are back. We appreciate y'all churning. Churn. We appreciate you churn. We need some butter. Anybody need some butter? Returning. Thank you for churning for us. We appreciate you joining today's episode. I can't get right today to save my life. That wasn't the cheer that I wanted. That's the one I wanted right there. We appreciate you guys joining this week's episode of This Week in UGA Football. Man, I swear, it's like the Hee-Haw said, if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. But we going to be all right. Mr. Figures, that is Colin P. We are talking UGA football. We just got done talking a little bit about the roster, but we need to get into what is this year's schedule. So first out of the chute, man, we got Clemson. We got an old fave. We got an old faithful. This has become one of our traditionals. It's almost becoming a tradition. They might as well add this to the schedule along with Georgia Tech and Florida. Last time we met, the Dogs reigned victorious. We are facing a different Clemson squad altogether. I don't know. The ACC has taken the elite teams in the SEC have kind of stepped back a little bit. So I am just looking at, let's just take a look here. Right now in the preseason, they're ranked first in the SEC. I don't know. What are you thinking, brother?
That's always going to be a good game. Is this the Chick-fil-A? Is this the Chick-fil-A kickoff?
I believe it is. I don't know if they gave it a name. I just know they're playing in Georgia.
It's usually us in Atlanta. I'm not sure, but it has Georgia's being a home team. So, yeah, I mean, I believe it's going to be a good game. I mean, we would probably, I don't know if we do break away. I mean, it'll be maybe a quarter or two into it. Maybe if we do the first half, because look at the past times we played them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Cade Klubnik, do you really think Cade Klubnik can get it done?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just, well, like you just said, we don't know. Honestly, I don't know much about these teams. I mean, till they get to moving, you know what I mean? And I'm just being honest there.
Yeah,
I'm trying
100%.
to see you got the line there?
What's that?
The line on the game.
Oh, what is the line on the game? I'm sorry. The line on that game is fully. You know what? It's not pulled up. It's not showing me anything.
Yeah, I got you.
We'll get into that later. But what I do think is I definitely see that one as a W.
Yeah, no, I do too. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be quite the game it was the last time we played them. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. But like I said, we may pull off, but I think it's a W. Yeah. But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got a question in our Facebook inbox. Well, not in the Facebook inbox, but in the group that we follow. Sean Spencer, as we all know him, is one of the founding members of the family of podcasts that is called Let's Talk Football, which we are affiliated with. His question is, do you guys think that Carson has that killer instinct? Yes. He's I look at him as a quiet assassin. I look at him as more of a John Wick versus a Terminator, if you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like the Terminator is going to come in. You see the Terminator come in, you know you got trouble. You see Steven Seagal sitting in the bar, 1990s Steven Seagal sitting in the bar, sipping on a coffee. You're going to give him a wide berth. But you see a Keanu Reeves type dude sitting in Denny's having a cup of coffee and a double stack and doing a crossword puzzle. You won't give him a second thought until
Right.
you push the wrong button. And then the next thing now he's avenging his dog and all kinds of stuff like that. So I do think he has that killer instinct. I just think it's very, very quiet. What about you, man?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's what we're not used. Well, I shouldn't say we're not used to. It's just like me personally, I would like to see the animation or be the fired up. But hey, whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you get you focused. But yeah, I think he's just quiet. I think that's one of the things that bothers me about him. He's quiet. He's so quiet.
To be honest, I think that's one of the things that bothers a lot of people about, like, they can't really put a finger on him. Like a lot of other quarterbacks, they're really competitive. They're very vocal and demonstrative.
Yeah.
He just goes out and does. That's why I call him the quiet assassin. That young man very quietly had a phenomenal season with about 50% of what was left over from the couple of years where they just ran roughshod over everybody and still posted a perfect record. So I definitely think he's got the killer instinct. He's just really quiet with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
A little time with Raza Ghul and those guys, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So next on the plate. So we both got that as a win, yeah?
Yes, sir. All day.
So next up is
win.
Dogs at home versus Tennessee Tech. Hate to not to discount Tennessee Tech, but I think that's a win. The following week, the 14th of September, they travel to Heinz Field to play the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah.
And what you got there, Colin?
Oh yeah, that's a win. That's definitely a win.
I don't think is it me or has Stoops just kind of is he just kind of not doesn't have the same fire that he had 2-3 seasons ago when he had those boys fired up and come in, and we went down to Heinz Field and they were 6-0 and we were 6-0, and it was I take that back. They played us at home and we were 6-0 and they were 6-0 and nobody had scored a touchdown on us all season, and the defense prided themselves in that. And they just marched right on down. Levis just marched them right downfield and punched it in. He doesn't seem to have that same fire.
I don't think so. But I mean, well, look at last year. I mean, he kind of got punched in the mouth. I mean, like Clemson eked one out on 38-35. I think. I mean, all their losses were pretty close. Like South Carolina beat them 17-14, and then but they spoke by Alabama.
And then they got run out of the stadium when they went to Bryant Denny. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah. Bryant Denny came to Heinz Field.
But yeah, I mean,
it got so bad. The Kentucky band director was like, "Bump it, y'all. Let's just play Dixieland Light. Call it a night.
Let's play that fight." So, but yeah, no, I got you. And then, and at least we got a bye week. We got a bye week after Kentucky.
Yeah, we have a bye week after Kentucky, which is much needed because then we are going into the aforementioned Bryant Denny Stadium to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide for the first time in well over a decade and a half without Nick Saban. In the regular season without Nick Saban.
Yeah. Man, oh man. Yeah. This is going to be a game that's going to be, obviously on my radar, but I mean, it's going to be, and it's in
on the radar, bro. I've had it circled on the calendar. I'm still trying to figure out if I can get tickets. It's only a 6-hour drive from here to Tuscaloosa.
You gonna go in the Lions Den, man? I don't know. I don't know if
I don't look.
I don't know if I'm going up in there with a G on my hat. I don't know about you.
Don't get me. Oh, come on, man. They're not that bad. They're not that bad. They talk more trash. Listen, you and I both know they talk more trash in the groups on social media and then the groups in Messenger that they do in real life.
Like, pull up. In my address. This is where I'm at. Pull up. Dummies. But yeah, no, I understand. That would be a good game to go to. Oh my God, I've never actually have I been to.
I guarantee you tickets are outrageous right now. They say they got tickets as low. They say they got tickets as low as $269 right now on Vivid Seats, and I guarantee you those tickets are up in the nosebleeds.
Oh, it changed the light bulb in the stadium.
For real. Oh man, it opened even with the line on this one. It opened even. The spread right now is 4.5, and that's even. The total is 54.5.
Yep.
So and honestly, right now it's fairly even. Georgia. This is the first time I've seen Georgia scheduled to play against Alabama, where we are favored. The matchup predictor on ESPN has us at a 59.1 chance to win that game.
That's going to be a tough game to play in Alabama, though. I mean,
yeah. Oh, dude, Brian Denny.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's hard to play just about anywhere. It's hard to play anywhere. It's hard for teams to come to Sanford. It's hard for teams to go to Bryant Denny. Okay, the three hardest stadiums to play in the SEC: Sanford, Bryant Denny, Tiger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to say it for Georgia, Missouri Stadium.
Oh yeah. I can see that.
Because that second championship year was almost marred by a loss. Remember, we were ranked number 1 in the country, and Missouri almost. If it weren't for that huge third, fourth down conversion in the third, fourth quarter, it was a wrap.
That's right.
For us, Missouri, because Missouri has always been a thorn on our side, and I'm kind of sad that they did away with the divisions because we don't get to play them this year. We also don't get to play Vanderbilt. Not that we were looking for a gimme game, but these are games that we just were used to playing. Used to playing every year. But yeah, that's where we stand right now. And dude, I got to be honest. I think the fella's got something to prove for Coach Nick, even though he's not around anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a. I mean, from what I think I posted in the group that the 5 stars they picked up that Milroe's going to have as targets. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of them.
And Milroe is not a bad quarterback. His evolution line. I will say this as a Georgia fan: his evolution over the course of last season was fun to watch. From some of the mistakes that he made, it was just like, how did you do that? And then to watch him man up from week to week and earn his starting slot back. Because remember, Nick told him to sit down.
Oh yeah, grab some. Yeah, he told him to grab some wood.
grab some. Oh, goodness. Oh, man. Shouts out to our guy, Nathan Snell from the Nathan Snell pocket. He's on all the time, anytime. I cannot talk tonight, y'all. That's how excited I am, man. Can you, for real? I'm that excited about it. Let's keep this thing moving along here for the sake of, for those of you just joining us, we are right now going through the schedule. We are in week 4 or 5. Now we're talking about, Saturday, October 6th versus Auburn.
Yeah, that's sooner than normal for us.
I want to say that's a win. We normally don't play Auburn until later in the season, but again, the schedule has changed somewhat, so you know how that goes. I'm looking at a win. I'm looking at a win there. I'm looking at double digits there. Mississippi State has floundered, and they have. Mississippi State has floundered, and then
they still got. I don't know if you noticed, but they still got. I'm sorry to cut you off, everybody. So the Auburn game, they don't have a time for that yet. They got a flex 3:30, and then 6 or 8. So we don't know if that's going to be an afternoon game or a night game.
Well, that depends on how well that's going to be the point in the season where, depending on how well teams are playing, whether they get the prime time or whether they get the early games. I don't care. I just want to see the game. Matter of fact, I prefer the early games because then if I want to go to bed early, I can. Because man, listen, if you're watching this show for the very first time and you're just catching up with us, number one, first of all, welcome to This Week in UGA Football. I'm Mr. Fingers, and that is Colin P. from the DMV. But if you've never watched SEC football on a Saturday, it's like you're up early, You're watching all the stories on all the pregame shows, college football. So you watching the ESPN show and flipping to the Fox show and flipping to the CBS show, and then the kickoff starts, and then you watch the early game, and then you watch the 2:00 game, and then you watch a piece of another 2:00 game that just ended, because that game ended. That they flipped to another broadcast, and then you place an order on DoorDash and you reload and you run and you do blah blah blah. Then you catch the evening game. Then that evening game runs over into the start of the late game, which is normally till about 10 or 11 o'clock. You literally can sit in front of your TV from 9 o'clock in the morning until midnight watching SEC football. Jesus, I can't do it no more. Jesus, Sean gave me a very good recommendation, and I will be taking him up on that this season. Them little 10-minute replays is on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be watching a bunch of those.
Yeah.
A bunch.
Yep.
So,
And well,
what do we think of football?
I'm definitely we're gonna win, but we got to change. Remember, we got
wait a minute. Hold on. Let me break down for y'all what just happened. I asked him a question about how he thought the game was gonna go, and he said, with his answer, he showed us that what he was trying to say before I asked him the question was more important than addressing Auburn. Yeah, man. So I was going to this place to get myself a Jimmy John. Oh, that's a win. But yeah, Jimmy John's got good oil and vinegar.
I told you it'd be soon.
Let's see. What about Hugh Freeze saying he should have had 4 wins against Alabama? I'm gonna leave that where he put that.
Hey, let me stop you. That's my cousin Zach Coley, down there from Folkestone, Georgia, down there. That's my cousin.
Oh no, I'm not gonna get at you, boy. I'm just pulling up the
question.
No,
I just wanted to shout him out. I appreciate you doing it, man.
I just wanted to say I think Hugh Freeze has been drinking antifreeze. That's all I got to say about that. Let's see here. You need a Georgia versus Maryland one night only game.
Oh my God!
Hey, have your people call Athens, man. I don't know why it ain't happened yet. Hey, bro, listen. If that happens, if we keep saying all this stuff, we're gonna do it. We never do it. If Maryland goes to Georgia for a night game, we need to rally everybody. Everybody needs it. We need to get the whole crew. If the schedule come out and it's a night game in Athens, then we need to rally the whole crew. We need to get Ben and Johnny and Marty and Alex and Andrew and Chris and Sean and Nick and Delilah and Tina and all of the ladies from the latest show and Nate. And we need to just go down and take over.
I'm down with that.
But they're not gonna look. Athens would not know what to do with all these people because Alex gonna show up in his Michigan gear. Sean's gonna show up in his Tar Heel gear. Sean's gonna show up in his Tar Heel gear. Nate's gonna have on his Maryland stuff. Kate gonna have on her Maryland stuff. Nick's gonna show up in his NIU. So that's a win. So you saying that's a win? Then we up against Mississippi State. That's a win. That's another TBD. Here's another one right here.
We got
number 4 Texas, and this is in Texas.
Yep.
I think here's our rubber meets the road games. Game 4 against Alabama. Game 7 against Texas. Because Texas has definitely had a big come up. They've had a big come up. They got Quinn Ewers. If Quinn can't play, they got some kid that's related to a couple of NFL quarterbacks as a backup quarterback. I heard his uncle and his uncles were pretty good and his dad was fairly decent too. Heard the dad was a pretty decent ball player too till he got hurt.
Speaking of hurt, they got their 2 running backs down. I mean, like they're starting running backs down, and then they're back. So
that's not good.
Not at all. Not at all. So I mean, the ball's going to be placed in, I believe, Ewer's hands a lot. I believe he's going to be running the ball. He's going to be running a lot of plays.
Well, here's a question for you. I'll ask you the same question Sean asked me about Carson. You think Quinn Ewers has that killer instinct, or you think it's just all fluff and kerfuffle until the time to put up or shut up?
That's kind of where I was going with that. I mean, like it's put up or shut up. I mean, like has he been placed in the position where it's a do or die situation? I mean, like I haven't really honestly been paying attention to him, but specifically. But this will be. I mean, honestly, not having your premier running back and then not having the backup. So I mean, I mean, to your point, yeah, he's gonna be tough, but at the same point, I mean, definitely don't take him for granted. But I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Does he have that killer instinct? I mean, I think he does more than I think he shows it more than Carson. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Oh yeah, 100%. His is all out and in front.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a good thing, like in the case of a Stetson Bennett, and sometimes that's a bad thing, like in the case of a Johnny Manziel.
Right.
And then, of course, the first weekend in November, the game that every Dawg fan circles on their calendar as soon as the schedules are written out, the cocktail party. And Georgia holds a huge advantage right now. The series itself is still pretty even, but Georgia holds a huge advantage over the last few years. And I see that one as a win.
Yeah.
I don't know what Napier has done down there. And like I have been saying this a lot over the course of the last few weeks. If he doesn't show any improvement at all, he's gone. I know he's got a lot of money riding on the table, but
bro,
we're what's that?
No, go ahead. No, let's finish.
I mean, I know they got a lot of money left on the table that they get rid of him this season, or basically what they'll basically. You know what? I honestly can't say. It's going to be. I think. Let me rephrase that. I think it's going to, because I had this conversation with Sean earlier a couple weeks ago. I think it's going to be put up or shut up in that if he has a mediocre season and limps in at just over 500, he'll get another year. But if he just totally craps the bed this year, he'll still get another year because there's a lot of money left to be on the table. But it won't matter. If he craps the bed this season, it won't matter what he does next season.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, it's going to be hard for him to even not do that or even, in my opinion, get to 500 for the schedule they got. And by the time they reach us, I mean, their season is going to be, probably
especially if we go down there and ATN runs roughshod on them, because how do you let your star running back leave?
Well, I mean, you heard what he said about him. I mean, like,
I didn't.
Yeah,
but I'm just go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I can't really remember, but paraphrasing, he said something like it was something to the effect that he wanted to be ESPN. The effect of like he wanted to be on a winning team and he doesn't, or something like that. He doesn't see Florida winning.
I remember that. I do remember that.
He wanted to see that, and that's not going to be there. Is what he said. Something to that effect. Paraphrasing.
That created a whole bunch of waves. Now here's their schedule, just to run through real quick. Opening up against number 19 Miami, that's a loss. Versus Sanford, that's a toss-up. Versus Texas A&M, that's probably a loss. At Mississippi State, toss-up. That might be a struggle.
Yeah.
Versus UCF, that might be a struggle. Versus Tennessee, that's a loss. Kentucky, toss-up. Georgia, loss. Texas, loss. LSU, loss. Matter of fact, the back end of their schedule is heavy loaded. They got Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. I am counting on the back end of their schedule 7 consecutive losses.
Yeah, I mean, at least 5, but yeah, I'm with you, 7. At least 5.
And I'm giving them that counts that coupled with the loss against Miami and the loss at Texas A&M, even if they win the rest of those games, that is a 12-game season? That is a 3-9 record.
Yeah, and that's definitely they're going to have to opt out of their bowl. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, stop that.
Come on,
ladies and gentlemen, the views and opinions expressed by Kyla P from the DMV are not necessarily those of Zach Nip Productions
and they're copyrighted
or any of their affiliates thereof. He tried to get us kicked off the air on the premiere show. Man, come on now. Stop it, Skip. Stop it, Skip. Don't do that. Ooh, here's
friendly banter, man. Friendly banter.
All right, then the following week, The following week, we travel to Oxford to play Ole Miss. I think that's definitely a get your popcorn ready kind of game because we know the Lane Train is going to make the game exciting. I still think that's a win. The week after that, we welcome the Volunteers to Sanford. I think that's a win. And then the final two games are Massachusetts and Georgia Tech. I'm saying the danger. The Steve Irwin. Oh, we need that for the show. Anytime we got a tough something coming up, danger. Alabama, Texas. And then playing Ole Miss, Tennessee. I mean, you got Alabama, but then you got Auburn and Mississippi State in there, so you get a little bit of a respite. But then you get Texas. You got to play. Then you get 2 weeks of rest before we go to Florida, and then after that it's just Ole Miss, Tennessee, back to back, and then So I still think this table is winnable all the way down the stretch. But if there's any ones that I really want to keep an eye on, it's late in the season because by the time they face Tennessee, they played Ole Miss, who's ranked number 6, Texas, who's ranked number 4, number 5 ranked Alabama, and started the season out against number 14 Clemson. So, and who knows where any of these other teams will be ranked by the time they play them. Man, no telling. Auburn might be inspired by Bo Nix's play last night. Let me tell you something. Happy Feet looked good last night.
Yeah, he did. Yes, sir.
Let me go ahead and say this. We dogged Bo Nix so bad when he was at Auburn. But you got to look at who he was playing under, okay? He went out to Oregon. Dan Lanning, who happens to be a product of the University of Georgia and part of the Kirby Smart coaching tree, by the way, turned this kid around. He looked so polished last night. He looked unflappable. Now, you're not playing against the creme de la creme defense, but he went out there and he played his game. And he looked good doing it. So I sincerely think that Sean Payton would do well to tap him for the number 1. Stidham didn't look half bad. He looked a little rusty coming out, but he didn't look half bad. I mean, he was like, hey, we got to go ahead and represent for the one time for the Iron Bowl. We go ahead and represent both. Hey, I went to Auburn too.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, so that's where we are. That is where we are right now. So we got Georgia going. We got them running the table, and that's realistic. Close ones. I think Clemson. That's going to be the game to watch because, like I said, we have a young defense, and the guys are going to be that first game. That always takes them on like 2 quarters.
You know what's going to reminds me of is us talking about. I wonder if not that it's going to. I think it's going to happen, but remember they were touting that game. Our beginning of the season against Oregon. Against Lanning, first year, right? They were saying what Georgia do against Oregon, and what happened then. But I'm not saying it's going to happen this time. But I mean, it is going to set the pace. It's going to set the tone, I think, for our guys. Going to be a good game there. I think.
Well, like I said, we open up the season against a ranked Clemson, and Clemson, even for the slight step back they've taken back from the dominance of their national championship years, recent national championship years. Clemson is still not a team to be played with, and that is definitely going to be a true test. That's going to be a nice test of a season opener for this young squad. But the ones to look out for after that, 100%, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and
I agree.
So I think that Kirby's going to have these boys right and tight. I am encouraged by the fact that I haven't heard a whole lot of injury noise out of camp this season. I mean, last season, every time you turn around, somebody was hurt. This year, they've managed to keep that kind of under wraps, except for oh boy, getting in trouble with Clark County PD. Which, by the way, Matt Mitchell, if you get a chance to see this video, you're wrong for that. How come nobody want to ride with me driving?
They need to grab everybody's keys, put them in a bowl, and you're gonna get them back to the rest of the end of the season. Kind of like DD. Put them in a bowl.
Hey man, coach might have to do that for real.
I ain't lying. I don't care if you're driving a Lambo. I don't care if you're driving one of them, Elon Musk cars. Let me put your keys in the bowl.
Man, you know what? I'm saying this jokingly, but partially not really. When you look at Carson Beck, who is not quite as old as my youngest kid yet, and he's driving a $300,000 car.
Hey,
And I've been
and
working.
and
I've been working since I was 6 years younger than Carson, 6 or 7 years younger than Carson Beck is right now. And I don't even think I've made that much money yet.
not only that, bro,
No,
he's
I
got
joke. I probably made that much money in the time I've been working, but
probably
you know,
spend it. I mean, yeah, he had to spend it. Like, I mean, but honestly,
well, dude,
look
you
at this.
got
One.
look,
He's got him a jet now.
got to pay rent, and I had kids, and I was married,
I
and I
know,
like to
but
eat.
he's got a jet now. So I wonder if that's Kirby's. Kirby's just, hey, y'all go get a jet, so you ain't gonna get no speeding tickets. Y'all ain't gonna get those tickets until we go get you a deal with the private jets.
Oh wow!
Right.
I just got a piece of news. I got to back up on. I got to back up on. Wait a minute. Sponsored by private airline. Oh my, this
Yeah,
sweet baby Jesus. Hey man, you want to? Hey
yeah,
man, you want to go back to school and pretend to be 18 and play some pro ball and get an NIL deal?
yeah. I can do it. I
I'm
can play
saying,
for it.
anybody want to give us a name, image, and likeness deal? We take PayPal, we take Cash App, we take Zelle. We even take the Crunch Bucks. Remember, was it the Captain Crunch Bucks? Didn't they have the things you cut out the back of the box and you get a whole bunch of them? You turn them in. Them little stickers is on the back of Kool-Aid. We'll even take them.
UPC, man. We take UPCs.
Yeah, yeah. We take all that. Anybody want to NIL sponsor us? We take it.
But hey, that was honestly, dude. One thing you can say about Carson, he ain't gonna get a speed ticket. He's in that plane.
Well, true that. But I'm not mad at these kids because they should have been paying these kids a long time ago. I started to say Reggie Heisman. Reggie Bush needs to get his Heisman back too, by the way. Just saying. Anyway,
Yeah,
moving on
yeah.
along. So I think the season is looking really good. And I wanted to get into this thing, but we have run a little bit over. So we will save that for next week. But next week, I definitely want to get into this ESPN percentage of chances to get into the college football playoffs because it was a doozy. For those of you that missed it, and we'll discuss it next week, just as a little sneak peek, one of the top 10 teams with a chance of getting into the playoffs is Penn State. And that's all I'm going to say. We'll get into that next week. So what are you looking forward to most from this season? We just move into our next segment, man. We've been enjoying this so much. We just been kind of talking. And I missed a whole lot of questions I wanted to get into that we haven't even gotten into. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking this season? I mean, what are you looking most forward to? Besides, of course, just the football being back.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that of course, but at the same point, you and I talked about the whole East-West thing, and I mean, not just the SEC, but I'm anxious to see all these teams that normally, I shouldn't say normally, but rarely play each other. And a lot of them are ranked now, and so they're ranked teams playing ranked teams that normally don't get into it. I mean, and I've quietly, or maybe not quietly, locally, been wanting this for Georgia for a long time for playing, Alabama, more than like every 5 or 6 years or whatever they put them on the schedule, and then the LSUs and that kind of stuff. I'm anxious to see how the seasons progress with the 12-team playoff and with the SEC now with Texas and Oklahoma in it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the matchups. To be honest with you, that's the main thing. Matchups is what I'm looking for. I'm thinking we're going to see some good football.
I'm right there with you on that because I want to say it was Sean that asked the question. If it wasn't Sean, it was somebody that asked us this question. I do recall this. Do you really feel? Can you honestly say that you are? I mean, if you've done what you need to do, if you've beaten every opponent in front of you and done what you need to do to get to the playoffs, and then won in the playoffs and gotten a championship, you are the champion. But can you really say? And it's an argument that's had every other year. Can you really say that you're the best if you haven't played some of the best? Can you really? And this is with some of the conference realignments. We're going to see a lot of interesting matchups, and I think this season is just the start of this. Just the start of that. I want to see some more of these ranked matchups. Now we're still, I mean, our schedule is still SEC heavy for obvious reasons because you have to crown a conference champion. But
yeah.
I mean,
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on what you just said real quick. So the conference title is no longer used as a tiebreaker this year. So like what happened to us last year is not gonna happen again.
Okay. And that's a good piece of information. As Ron White once famously said, that's a pretty handy piece of information to have right there.
You threw me into public.
Right.
But yeah, I saw that. So I mean, I don't know if that's what happened. I mean, why that was, that was changed. But I mean, it kind of goes along with my opinion. I think you probably. I mean, we didn't do it. Like I honestly kind of think you should win your conference in order to go to the playoff. I mean, I'm kind of on that side. But then again, 29-1. I mean, it's kind of like if you're somebody team like went undefeated in 2 years. I mean, like how are you going to do that when they lost one game? You know what I'm saying? But that's a Georgia thing. So
yeah. And I mean, you know what though? I was not mad at the committee's decision. Like I said last season, we knew that with 2 undefeated seasons, 2 back-to-back championships, all we had to do was beat Alabama. And this was before we knew that Nick was retiring. All we had to do was beat Alabama, and we had punched our ticket, and we didn't get it done. So once you leave, and we've talked about this before as well, you don't want to leave your fate in the getting in the playoffs in the hands of the committee.
Yeah,
you want to leave.
Yeah.
You want to leave.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To your point.
Yeah, you definitely, because if you leave it in the hands of the committee, then you're going to get 2 or 3 people that are going to have, somebody in there is going to give a dissenting opinion. That would be the difference between going to the championship, going to the playoffs, and not going to the playoffs. If we'd won that game, hands down, it would have been no question. Georgia has run the table. Georgia lost to Alabama in the SEC championship, won the national, got in the playoffs, won the national championship, came back 2 years later, beat Alabama in the playoffs, in the SEC championship again, or finally beat them in the SEC championship.
One time.
It's a wrap. They got 20, 29, 30 straight wins. They beat Bama, one of the best. It's a wrap.
Yep.
So that, I said, that's one of the things that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. And it's going to be again in future years. It's not going to be this season, but that's one of the things I'm definitely looking forward to. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate you all for tuning in to this week's edition after tonight's show, and see if I can't get these tongue twisters together. You think for a person that's able to rap to Eminem and Tech Nine that I would be able to just put out a few simple 6-letter 2-syllable words, but I've been struggling tonight, but we're gonna get by it. We're gonna get by it. We just chalked that one up to all the excitement of looking forward to what's coming up this season. So Colin, you got anything you want to put on it just to close the book for this week?
No, man, I'm just happy for how things are going. I mean, just ready for the first snap. I'm ready for the first snap of football and ready to get this season started. And that right there just means that fall's coming and the weather's going to be awesome. So,
can't wait.
Excited for all the above.
Dude, it was 109 degrees here on Saturday. 109. And it stayed 109 degrees until about 8 o'clock. The sun rises in my backyard. That's the east side of the house where I'm pointing right now. It rises on that side. It sets on that side. And it was 109 degrees until the sun went down over the row of houses and trees off in the distance to the west of us. It was absolutely insane. And even then, it didn't get down below 9. It didn't get down below 100 until it was almost full dark.
Oh my gosh, man! It's one of the things I don't miss about down South Georgia, man. I mean, that's the same. Humidity ain't no joke.
Yeah, but enough about me complaining about the heat. That's why the good maker allowed somebody to come up with, y'all guys heard of this stuff called Freon?
Well, Box fans with the windows open.
Yes, indeed. So we do appreciate you all for tuning in. That is going to do it for this week's edition of This Week in UGA Football. On behalf of myself, Mr. Fingers, live from the 405 and my partner in crime, Colin P. from the DMV. This has been another Zagner Productions presentation, and we will see you guys next week. You guys take care and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.